So here we go, everyone. Finally gonna tear down the KLX351 here. Gonna get it down to the jug in this video and see if we can't find anything that is unusual. So, gotta drain the coolant, the oil, and then we can start unplugging the throttle body, get the throttle body out, go through the top end, take the cams out, and then head bolts, head off, jug off. Sounds like a quick and easy job, but I guess we'll see. I've done this a few times now, so hopefully it goes smoother than before. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we got the fuel tank off, throttle body out, coolant drained, oil drained, so now we can go ahead and get to work on the top end here, removing the valve cover, cams, cam cap, chain tensioners, and then we should be good to remove the head bolts. Valve cover off, cams marked up at top dead center, lobes facing outwards. Good to go to remove the tensioners and the cam cap. Alright, cam cap coming off. So now everything is off the cylinder head here. We got the cam cap, cams out obviously. We got this front coolant hose off. We got the thermostat removed, the oil pipe, banjo bolt, and the upper cylinder head mount. So we are now good to crack loose the head bolts. We have 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 smaller ones here on the inside, obviously. So getting pretty close here. Let's go ahead and get right into it and see if we can't immediately find anything that's wrong. Alright, all head bolts out. Now time to pull off the cylinder head, and it looks like the cylinder head is compressed to the jug again. So gotta smack that thing off there. So as you can see, we got the head cracked off the jug, and the jug is coming up too. I'm gonna have my brother hold up the chain for me while I pull off the cylinder head, and we'll be in business. Okay, let go. Let go. I got it. Let go. Okay. And here is our cylinder. Alright guys, if you remember in the last KLX351 video, I said something about it could be the wrist pin because the noise was coming from the jug, not the bottom end when I was listening through the stethoscope. If I did that test right for the bottom end, the rod, bearing, maybe it's the wrist pin. So as you guys just saw, I got the jug off, got the cylinder head off. Immediately went to go check for play with the rod, and I was wiggling the piston around. That's not normal, but I went to check the wrist pin, and guess what? The wrist pin just slides right out of there. As you can see, I didn't even remove the circlip. The circlip is still in there. It's just recessed into its groove, which means it's not holding in the wrist pin anymore. So I am almost certain that was our issue. So of course now I'm going to check tolerance in play with the rod here to make sure nothing funky is going on there. I'm not sure how much play it should have. I'll check the manual and then go ahead and see if it's within spec here. If it is within spec, it looks like we just need a new piston and rings, wrist pins, circlips, and we should be good to go to put this thing back together, see if it works. I'm willing to try that first, even if it was the bottom end. It took me like 2.5 hours just to get down to the jug here. Like I said, I've done this a few times, so it goes pretty smoothly now. So worst case, if it wasn't the wrist pin and we still have the knock, then I know that I'd have to go into the bottom end or something, and you know, it took me couple hours to get down to where I'm at right now. I don't mind taking that chance if it means that the KLX351 has a chance to run again and be back on the road, on the dirt, back to ripping. Now the other things we got to look at, if that was indeed our issue, we have to look at our cylinder. Everything looks pretty good. The cylinder feels smooth. I do not feel my fingernail does not catch on anything here. You can see where the skirts were. The skirt, well, wear from the skirt doesn't look too excessive. I'm trying to get a good look for you guys. If you guys want to add any input, here's a look at the other side. You can see maybe a little bit. Oh, that's from my finger. I know that. Yeah, that's from my finger. So that feels pretty smooth. Now if you look at the skirt of the piston, we do have a little bit of wear, as you can see there. But I mean, what, I've had this for a few thousand miles now, I believe. Let's see, 3,000, a couple thousand at least. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that was our issue. That's somewhat a relief. Also looking at our piston, you can see that there's some carbon buildup. I'm trying to look for some pitting to see if there is any signs of detonation, and I do not see any signs of that. But regardless, it looks like we're getting new piston and rings, so this piston doesn't really matter, but it's good to know if the tune is as it should be, and I don't see any pitting. So I went ahead and checked the big end side clearance of the connecting rod. It's supposed to be between 0.25 and 0.35 millimeters, which is equivalent to 0.0098 or 98 10,000ths of an inch or 14 thousandths of an inch. So went ahead and checked the clearance, and it looks like we are in spec there. So I really don't think it's the bottom end. When I listened through the stethoscope, the bottom end of my 351 and the bottom end of my brother's KLX300 both sounded the same. The big difference was the jug here, and like I said, pretty sure we know why that was. So one last thing here, guys, to explain what was happening. I know the camera is focused on the crossbar here, but if I hold the connecting rod and I take the piston, you can hear it. So imagine the engine going at, you know, 2,000 RPM even. The piston's going like this. And that, if you speed that up, sounds like our knocking engine. So it's a few days later here, as you can tell. We got a couple things to talk about. So first, leave a comment down below. I'm almost 100% certain that is what caused our knocking issue. Makes sense. If you can wiggle the piston around by hand like that and you speed it up, it sounds exactly like the knock we were having, and it makes sense when I would place the stethoscope on the jug all around. The noise was most prominent from there, and like I said, it sounded exactly like that. So with that being said, I need a new piston, and I really haven't talked about this before, but as you guys know, this is a Bill Blue 351 kit, and from personal experience and others' experiences, in my opinion, his customer service really is not the best. When I did the ported head, I needed to order some head gaskets. I needed to order some, so I contacted him. No response. I had to go to Cometic and source them myself, and ended up getting a better deal anyways for about half price. So now, I texted him, said I need a new piston. No answer. So I called JE Piston, and the issue now is that I have to send my piston to them, but it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks turnaround. If anyone can get me a piston, let me know down in the comments. But that's where we are right now. It's really pretty annoying because I thought this was going to be a pretty easy fix, get a new piston, slap everything together, and we should be back to ripping on the 351, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that easy, not because it's anything new, it's just the process you have to go through to get there. But hey, at least we found the issue on the KLX. Took a little bit of time, but hey, we got it torn down, and honestly, I'm glad that I was messing around with the piston, because if I didn't do that, didn't see anything, I could have easily overlooked that and would have come to the conclusion that I would have to split the cases. But everything seems good, the sleeve looks good, the cylinder's nice and smooth, the circlip didn't fall into the case, so it looks like we're good there. Like I said, I just need a freaking piston and a wrist pin and rings and circlips, but you know what I'm saying. But I think that is going to do it for today's video. Again, comment down below your thoughts. But if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, share it to your friends, those who may enjoy it or find it useful. And of course, if you're not subscribed, go down there, hit that subscribe button, get the bell on to keep up with all the action here. We like to have fun around here. If you're into motorsports, you're in the right place. But with all that being said, join the club, and I'll see you in the next one. This is happening.
How come you're shaking?
What are you talking about?
You're shaking.
Yeah.
You are.
I know I